Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope you are firmly seated and ready to go, because we're off on a journey fit for a hero.
Well, our story begins at the foot of the hills, in a bustling city, full of promise and thrills. Here lives a young woman who's busy getting and spending. She is our hero, and this is our setting. She had plans for her life, a list she'd compiled. A top dollar job, house, partner, and child. Her friends, they admired her, and her parents she pleased. Her path clear before her, her mind was at ease. Like all of her friends, she'd begun a career, worked a 50-hour week, success it was near. She went out to the parties, restaurants and the shops. Life couldn't be better. She was headed straight for the top.
Oh, yay! Woo!
Months went by and things all ticked along. Her pay was increased, nothing was wrong. Until one day she went shopping in an old part of town and discovered a book that turned her world upside down.
Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Well, its title intrigued her. It was called The Signs of Our Times, and the bookkeeper sold it for less than a dime. Expecting a breezy read, she was wrong, for this book was written by Punga from Bron. First, it described our marvelous planet, from rainforests to glaciers, the life cycles of Gant, the great rhythms of life, the deserts and rains. When revealing this beauty, its tone took a change. It told of the mess that we've made of the earth, the wastelands, the warfare of resources, the dirt, the death of the oceans, the soil blowing away, injustice, exploitation, and the approach of doomsday. Her worldview was shattered and she was distraught. This was a story she'd never been taught. It seemed humanity had gone down the sink, the Earth's very future teetering on the brink.
Oh.
From the food that she ate, to the job that she worked, to the bank where she saved, destruction did lurk. In her plans for her future, her clothes and her phone, this new sense of wrongness wouldn't leave her alone. Her friends were alarmed. They thought she'd gone mad. They stopped coming over. She made them feel sad with documentaries, line after line, she would quote cover to cover the signs of our time. The book planted a seed, and a question then grew.
What? Oh, what? Oh, what should I do?
The question consumed her. Oh, we'll hear it again. What was that question?
What was the question? What? Oh, what? Oh, what should I do?
The question consumed her, filled her waking days, and even in dreaming the question remained. Well, with what she now knew of extinctions and fracking, she firmly resolved Earth needed her backing. The planet in peril, it called for a savior. She decided to become an eco-crusader.
She stopped eating meat, went vegan instead, divested the bank and stashed cash in her bed, sold her old car and started to bike. She changed her old life, all in one strike. She went to the protests.
The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated.
Signed online petitions. She even donated almost all her possessions. She quit her old job and set up a non-profit. Punga from Bron had become her dark prophet. She moved out of a rental and into a yurt. With a commune of others on the city's outskirts. She made some new friends who held convictions the same. Was not so alone, did not feel so strange. Her old life behind her, it at times gave her grief when she remembered old pleasures and her old beliefs. But there was no going back, she was in opposition. Her life had become like a war of attrition. It seemed she had done all that she could, yet the planet's future was still not looking good. At the end of her tether, her question then grew.
What? Oh what? Oh what should I do?
For all the solutions, all the strategies, from politics to organics to planting more trees, green dollars and hybrids, light bulbs more efficient, hydro dams, carbon taxes, none of them seemed sufficient.
Oh no! No!
Her question consumed her, filled her waking days, and even in dreaming, her question remained.
What? Oh what? Oh what should I do?
She pondered and pondered, then had a breakthrough. She knew she must find Punga-frond Bron. And the only clue that she had to go on was the last line of the book. It said,
Muster your skills. If you have any questions, then head for the hills.
She was now certain. She gathered her things, stuffed the book in a pillowcase, and tied it with string. Slung the sack on her shoulder on the end of a stick. She'd go get an answer through thin and through thick. The next day at dawn, just as the sun rose, she hitched up her britches and stepped on the road, strode up the narrowing path and the slope, with her question, her sandwich, and a desperate hope.
She said it's really time to go now. I said I really don't know where or how. She turned to me, said it's wholeness that teaches us to see. In the dark is where we'll be. She said it's time for me to go, and I know I just wish that I could stay sitting at home. I gotta go against the grain, simple and plain, or I could never ever truly be happy again. I got this call to action attracted me to maverick status, dissatisfaction and habit in every habit. A canopy of sadness amassing in these attachments. The madness of the masses is shattered as my canvas, so I'm stepping out. Without a doubt I gotta do it. The womb that I've been moving in, I see it as useless. A cocoon of what I knew, just reducing my movements. The confusion that consumed me, I can see it as bloom, and it's a new moon. And I'm off on the road, from the knowing to the flowing, just whatever unfolds, just let it go. If it's a way, then I can take it. The trials and tribulations that graces me with a weight, then I can make it.
Well, the houses they thinned. Farms took their place. Our heroine strode on with an implacable pace. The going was tough, but she felt somehow lighter. Heading into the bush, the city far behind her. The breeze, it was brisk. The sun, it was bright. She took out a sandwich and wolfed it down in one bite. The path grew more windy, the track grew more steep, until, by a river exhausted, she laid down and slept. A little while later, she awoke to a tune, sung by an old woman, her eyes glowing like moons, crouched near to a campfire, pulling out a fish trap. She had caught an eel and knocked it out with a slap. She was wearing a cloak of kakapo feathers, a woven flax skirt, and boots of soft leather. Her skin was the colour of totara wood. The girl knew she should greet her. She knew that she should. The old kuya waved and beckoned her near. The girl was excited, but felt a wee bit of fear. Who was this woman with eyes that like the moon shone? Could she possibly be Punga-frond Bron? Well, they sat together by the fireside and cooked up the eel. The girl couldn't tell, was this a dream? Is it real? When the meal had been cooked, she made a vegan exception. This was, after all, the most special reception. Replete after eating, in the sun to bath, the girl plucked up her courage and eventually asked,
Please, can you tell me, am I right or wrong? Are you the one they call Panga from Bron?
Ah, so it's Bron you're searching for. Indeed, I am not. Bron's further along. You're on the right path.
the next instant she vanished with a wink and a laugh.
With her belly now full and with strengthened resolve, the young woman set off with her question to solve. Society was collapsing, the climate cooking like a stew.
What? Oh, what? Oh, what should she do?
The track narrowed further. It was now only dirt. Its steepness increased. Her muscles burned and they hurt. The bush, it grew thicker, tangled and tight. The sun getting lower and closer tonight. The forest was loud, full of melody, sung by the birds and the swaying of trees. The colours and textures were nothing like she had seen. She had no idea there were so many greens.
Green, green, green.
Green, green. There's a bit of green, green, green.
Catching her breath, she leant on a rata and up through the trees saw what looked like a rafter. Walls of manuka, the roof bracken thatch, all bound together with supple jack lash. Sat on the doorstep, looking straight back at her, was a tall, slim-built figure clothed in possum fur. Puffing a pipe and greasing a trap, he gestured an invite, that tall, wiry chap. The girl was afraid, but she had not journeyed for naught, so boldly on through the forest she walked. The trapper pulled up a seat, the stump of a tree, and poured her a mug of honeydew tea. They sat together in silence.
Silence.
The only sound was the birds, until the young woman had gathered her nerves.
Please, can you tell me, am I right or wrong? Are you the one they call Panga from Bron?
Are you looking for Bron? I'm not Bron. Bron's further along. Just follow the tree fronds up yonder path.
And with that it simply vanished, leaving only the scar.
Well, refreshed by the tea, there was no going back. She picked up the scarf, put it in her sack. She followed the tree ferns up the steep and sheer gully. The evening was upon her and the sun, it glowed dully. Now using her hands, she climbed and she scrambled through the cold mud and the thickets of brambles. She came to a clearing, the mouth of a cave, and under a punga saw what looked like a grave. She went to the entrance, turned on the torch. No one in sight, it was not much more than a porch. A typewriter, a mattress, a desk and a lamp. Seemed she'd discovered Bron's writing camp. This was Bron's place, no doubt about that, but no Bron in sight, not even a rat. On the desk, the typewriter. In the typewriter, a letter. And what she found on it dismayed and upset her.
If you have any questions, head up to the peak. I'm feeling quite brave, in no mood to speak. As you can see, I've been and gone. Yours sincerely, Panga from Bron.
Well, she went to the grave. It was certainly bronze, the name on the headstone, the carved tongue of bronze. Her heart was in tatters. She was distraught. The heart was in tatters. She was distraught. There was no one to ask, just her and her question all alone in her task. Her heart weighed a ton and her eyes filled with tears. She was alone, her question and fears would despair consume her. Should she pack it all in? Could nobody help it? The chances seemed slim.
We believe in you! You can do it!
There was nothing else for it. She had to go on. And quickly at that, the sun barely shone. The forest thinned out. The slope was obscured. The mountain peak was above her. It was all she could see.
Our hero climbed up the darkening slope. Just her and her question and a desperate hope. What?
Oh, what? Oh, what should I do?
Was there anyone else who possibly knew? She climbed and she clambered, was now at the top. No further to travel, she would have to stop. She made camp on the peak, wrapped the scarf round her tight. She'd sit with her question through the gathering night. She was exhausted. Tears down her face ran. No one could guide her, no one else can. For the night was upon her, the last sunlight did fade. From this lonely vantage, her life she surveyed. Way down below her, there glimmered the city. From this far distance, it almost looked pretty. Here was the place she was born and knew best. The society that filled her with such distress. Down there was the bookshop that had cut like a knife through the old dreams she'd once had for her life. Down there was a commune, her new life of protest, where she'd burnt out and it all felt hopeless. Between the city was the river and path, the strange woman and trapper, their winks and their laughs. Bronze little shelter, the letter and grave. She could see the whole world that she'd wanted to say.
What? Oh, what? Oh, what should I do?
Who she was asking, she hadn't a clue. The night sky was immense. The stars were arrayed. For the first time in her life, the girl prayed.
What? Oh, what? Oh, what should I do?
She asked the mountain she'd climbed. She asked the breeze when it blew. She asked the stars in the sky, her body and mind, the things of the world, the things beyond time. The stars seemed to shine brighter. The wind grew more fierce. The rocks seemed to speak. Her being was fierce. She felt like she was floating. She was terrified. Yet at the same time, she'd never felt more alive.
What? Oh, what? Oh, what should I do?
Her voice painted the night with brilliant hues. Her question dissolved. Her distress it did melt. The girl was ecstatic, could not believe how she felt. The universe took her doubts and replaced them with awe. She was part of the earth, she was less and was more. Her thoughts fell away, she was taken apart. It was the end of her life. It was only the start. It seemed the wind was inside her, it was her very breath. She was part of the mystery, it was beyond birth and death. The earth was below, the sky was above. She was filled with an immense sense of love.
May the grace and love be with you always in your heart. May you know the truth inside you from the start. May you have the strength to know you are part of something beautiful. And I thought I saw a light shine. Thought I saw a light shine. Thought I saw a light. May the grace of God be with you always in your heart. May you know the truth inside you from the start. May you have the strength to know you are part of something beautiful.
Time seemed to stand still. Hours were eternities. She flowed through the cosmos, swam celestial seas. Then nuance by nuance, daybreak did appear. The woman's wild psyche began to cohere. She felt her body again on the peak. The heavens fell quiet. The rocks ceased their speech. She gasped at the glory of the azure rose dawn, saw it for the first time as if she'd just been born. She recalled the old woman, the trapper, and eel, the honeydew tea, the way the bush made her feel, the transformation in wilderness that her journeying gave, how her life was an instrument, through her the earth played. Her thoughts turned to society that she'd left behind, its gifts and its badness, the cruel and the kind, the prospect of change, the risk of destitution, the promise and peril, no easy solutions. The challenges were the same, but something in her had changed. Her notions of selfhood had been rearranged. Culture must evolve. Nature needed protection, but just as essential, it needed affection. The world wasn't a resource to burn up or to save. It was a living community of which we were made. We deeply belonged. We're a voice with which the earth spoke. We needed to grow into ripe and rich folk.
She knew what she must do now. Keep open the door to the wildness, the mystery, the inexhaustible lore, to help others discover and renew their weary hearts, disclosing them the belonging that was there from the start. Full with the taste of her deepest connection, through all of the hardship she'd glimpsed of perfection. Dark times were upon us, but an immense burden had lifted, a sense of wild love to her had been gifted. She opened her bag
and
took out the book, placed it on the peak, then down the valley she looked. She hitched up her breeches, stepped on and away, to follow her path for the rest of her days.
So a little pause now, we'll just change gear. Opportunity for you to have a toilet break, a stretch, and we'll resume in about 2 or 3 minutes, and we'll do a last little place to bring these guys home.